Hey guys, it is Arika Misha. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. And this particular video, it is time to move on. That's the title of today's video. And when God spoke to me about this yesterday, it's something that He has been dealing with me on for a while now, and something I have been, dealing with and talking to God about, and me and God have been going back and forth about it, talking about it, and God said to me, it's time to move on. I don't know, what it is in your life that you have to move on from, but but yeah, that's what God talked to me about. He said it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And I wasn't expecting that. I just kind of figured we'd go back and forth a little bit longer about it. But He said no. It's time to move on. Let me read my notes. As I was spending time with God, reading my word and praying, God whispered to me, and He said, it's time to move on. How many times has God said that to us? Move on. It's time to move on. And we don't. Sometimes we may. I am guilty of it. When God has said to me, move on, and I have moved on. And there were times where He said to me, move on, and I haven't. I have to say that is true. That is true. I knew exactly what He was talking about because I had been dealing with something personal for a while now. And He said, it's time to move on. Like I said, me and God been going back and forth about it. He didn't tell me to move on. Previously when we were going back and forth about it, He would say this and I would say, well, what about this? He'd say this and I'd say, well, what about this? Just kind of been going back and forth about it. And for Him to say, when I was talking to Him about it, for Him to say, it's time to move on. That hit hard. I just, figured we go back and forth about it for a little while longer. But I'm sure God got to the point where He was like, okay, I'm tired of going back and forth with you about this. No, move on. Girl, move on. I'm telling you, that's how He be talking to me sometimes, Yeah. It was hard for me to accept that, but I knew what He was talking about. I had been waiting on Him, to answer me and give me the whole final answer. And He finally answered, and He said, move on. I know it's hard, but when God tells you something, it's best. Yeah. I know. As hard as it. Okay. All right. See what I mean? It's been that kind of day. But anyway, as I was saying, yes, it was hard for me to hear it. It was really hard for me to hear that. I felt like I wasn't sure. I should have gotten myself prepared for if He said yes or no. I should have gotten myself prepared either way. But, I just kind of figured, we were going back and forth about it. He didn't have an answer yet. But yeah, He said move on. So He will give me the strength to move on. That's all I can say. He will give me the strength to move on. And let me tell you something. One thing that I have definitely learned from God, when God says move on. Because I know what it's like when God says move on and I don't move on. It causes more chaos. It causes more of a mess than anything. It does. It causes more of a mess than anything. So the best thing to do is just move on. So yeah, I said, when God said it, I was like, wait, what? I thought we were going to go back and forth about it for a little while. He's like, nope, move on. I'm not going back and forth with you about that subject, and move on. And I said, okay, I'm going to move on, because like I said, I have been guilty of not moving on, and it has caused me more hurt, more pain, more aggravation, more stress than anything. So as hard as it may be, I will move on. I have moved on, let me say that. Because you know what, we gotta trust God. We gotta know if God is telling us something, and we know that it's God. And y'all know, I know it's God. We know that it's God telling us to move on. We gotta do it, because we know God knows best. He sees down the line. He sees the future. He sees the future, past. God sees it all. You know, so God say move on. It's best to move on. But know that it's God that's telling you to move on. Know that it's God. Know that it's Christ telling you to move on. And yeah, clear as day, whispered to me. When I started talking about it, he's like, yeah, it's time to move on. I was like, you sure you're talking about? He's like, yeah, you heard me. You heard me. You heard me. Let's go. Move on. Yeah. It's tough, y'all. It's really tough. I trust God's discerning. I trust God's direction. So I have moved on. I trust Him. I trust His guidance. I trust His discernment. I trust His word. I believe in God. I trust Him. He guides me all the time. He has never steered me wrong. He has never steered me wrong. Never gave me bad advice. May not have been the advice that I wanted sometimes, but God's always been honest. He's never lied. God's never cheated. I mean, how can you not trust a man like that? So, yes, it's time to move on. It's time. So, like I said, I have moved on. And it is what it is. Just trust God. Trust God. You know, any direction that God gives you, you know, and you know God, how God works. God sends you that confirmation. You know, that's how I love it. I love it. You know, how God sends that confirmation. Like, okay, yeah. All right, guys. I just wanted to come and share that. I just had to come and share that. This is Arika Misha. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on all my social media, guys. Thanks.